Hello all, and welcome to another Parry's Pickups. Now, I was in doubt whether I get another one in before the end, before I go back to the UK in December. But lo and behold, I picked up a few games, so here I am. I'm going to talk about them. Actually, this may be the first of two videos I'll do here in Denmark before Christmas. So yeah, because I just seems I've picked up a lot of games recently. I'll start off here with Need for Speed Most Wanted You, which was picked up by my good friend and fellow podcaster Matthew Boyle while he was in Germany. Now, I think this cost about, I can't remember exactly, about 25 euros or something like that. This game is, highly regarded. There seems to be some demand for it. You can see these going on eBay, especially the PAL versions, for quite a lot, about 30 quid, I'd say. This is the German version, which you also see on eBay, slightly cheaper, but still more expensive than actually going direct to the source and getting it from Germany. Only difference with this version being is you've got German text on the back, and you've got the old big green rating symbol there, and not the usual British, PEGI rating for this particular game. So, for those not in the know, don't know about the Wii U version of this game, it has the Ultimate Speed Pack. Basically, I think has pretty much everything, all the add-on content that was released for the game when it was released on PS3 and Xbox 360. So it makes it the most fully featured version of the game to buy straight out here. It's similar to Burnout Paradise. Of course, it's made by Criterion, which are a very good arcade racing studio, famous for the Burnout series. The twist here is, unlike Burnout Paradise, you've got police, and that creates some great scenarios, great police chases in this game. Basically, your idea is you have to work your way up the rankings, racing your rivals around the city. There's like a gang of street racers, and after every few races, you get to challenge one of them. What's also interesting about this game is all the races are tied to the certain cars that you find. So once you find a car, you'll have so many races associated with that car. The mistake I made at the beginning of the game was, as soon as I saw a nice shiny car, I was on my way to a race, jumped out, jumped in it. And of course, then I didn't know where I was going because that particular race I wanted to do wasn't associated with that new car that I picked up. It's a great game. It's really gives me an adrenaline rush when playing. It's very fun. It's a good looking game. I'd recommend using, if you've got it, the Wii U Classic controller, because I personally find it a lot easier to use for this type of game. I'm not sure why exactly, it just feels better. You do have the option to use a gamepad, of course, with this game, and also a second player can use a gamepad as well to influence what's going on. They can turn off the traffic or change the from night and day. They can kind of mess with the settings a little bit. I don't know if that's an amazing feature to have in the game, but it's there, and it's nice that they've integrated the Wii U gamepad there. So I'd highly recommend this game. Unfortunately, yes, it is rising in price. But this version is just as good as the PAL version. It's the same game, it's just in a box with German writing on it. So, yeah, do recommend this highly. Next up, another Wii U game. Again, it's not an exclusive game to the Wii U. That is Amazing Spider-Man 2 for the Wii U. Kind of rhymes, doesn't it? So this is the game I expected to be based on the film of the same name. But it's a little different. According to the back, you've still got characters such as Electro who feature in the movie. I've not encountered him yet. I've played this for about an hour, but there's a lot more in there that you don't get in the movie. So that's great that they haven't just stuck to the premise of the movie, and they've been able to do a few other things and introduce villains which aren't in that movie. It's pretty good. Before this, I think the only real Spider-Man game that I played, actually racking my brains, probably is the Spider-Man 2 for the Xbox, the original Xbox. And this game sort of follows the same template. There's New York, which you can travel around, web slinging your way in true Spider-Man fashion, which is very enjoyable, a lot of fun. And then you'll see there'll be story objectives around the city. So do you want to continue the story, which begins you looking for the killer of Uncle Ben? Then you follow them. Alternatively, you can do little side missions. One of them was to rescue Stanley from a burning building. Not a building, but a burning building. So, yeah, the gameplay's fun. I like the combat, similar to Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, and the way that a group of enemies will surround you, and then they'll get a little alert over your spider sense will tingle when they're about to hit you, and you can do a dodge and then a combo. And there's a few moves in there, and it's satisfying to do. And as I say, so with this web slinging around the city, it looks okay, but it is rough around the edges. I've heard that the Xbox One and PS4 versions look a little better, but they still suffer from a few little glitches. It seems this game may have been rushed out slightly because, yeah, sometimes things don't look as good as you'd expect them to. For example, the city to me always looks a little bare, and sometimes the graphics appear fuzzy at first if you to load up a section of the game, and the loading times are quite long as well. And Spider-Man, everything will be all fuzzy for a second, then it will just kind of appear sharper, which is a shame. And there's also a few audio glitches as well I've experienced in places. It's not enough to really detract from the gameplay, which is pretty good, albeit straightforward, and I don't think a major leap in what I've previously experienced in the old Spider-Man 2 for the Xbox. But it's a playable game, and it's fun. And, I had fun with it, which is the main thing. And it only cost me 77 krona, which isn't bad at all. It's just under a tenner. It's brand new. Pretty good game. I wouldn't rush out and buy it necessarily, but if you want a Spider-Man game for the Wii U, then as far as I'm aware, this might be the only option. It's a pretty good one. So that's Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man 2 for the Wii U. Now, a game that I actually picked up some time ago and forgot to talk about on the last Parry's Pickups is Dark Void. Now, Dark Void is one of those games which I've actually spoken about it on our podcast, Tom Matt Tack. I see around a lot, and I always see it very cheap, and for some reason I never pick it up. Well, this time I did. I'm actually pretty happy with it. It's fairly generic, third-person action game, which from the off throws you into a battle where you're flying around using the jetpack, which was great. I got used to it pretty quickly, and then you lose. Well, you don't lose your jetpack so much. You cut to another scenario of some other characters who are off on a mission. They jump in a plane and they're going somewhere, and I can't really remember exactly what they were doing. But things go a little wrong and they crash. One of the I think the pilot dies, and then you're left as the main character and a female character, and you're trying to basically find out what's going on. I can't remember. I think there's a camp you're trying to get to. Anyway, it's beside the point. Then it turns into a third-person cover-based shooter, which manages to do some interesting things. For example, vertical kind of shooting. So you'll be, say you're on a cliff face and you're looking downwards, and the enemies, which are robot creatures, are popping out, and you're aiming downwards at them like a shooting gallery sort of scenario, which I hadn't played anything like that before. I thought that was quite unique. It's fairly good in level design. It's quite easy to work out where you're going. Again, a little like Spider-Man, it's not the nicest looking game. It is a little bit rough around the edges, but it actually sets out achieves what it sets out to do rather well, I'd say. And I actually enjoyed quite a lot what I played of it. I think it's certainly worth the price tag. It's not a game to avoid, despite the title. Definitely, if you see this, give it a go, because if you like third-person shooters, then this is one to go for. Now, I wish I'd been able to spend a bit more time with the jetpack, but I'm assuming that after about an hour, I hope the jetpack will appear again soon, and get to experience that, because that's really what would set this game apart from any other third-person shooter. So next up is something, a little deal I found here in Denmark, a place called Blue City, which I've mentioned before. I pop in there every now and again and see what deals are going on. They had 5 pre-owned PS3 games for 100 kroner. So that is, just over 10 quid. Just. So I was scanning through the games, and I couldn't initially find anything that I wanted. I thought, well, I actually had most of the games I was interested in. But with a little bit more searching, I think the first game I came across that I knew I wanted and was on the list of games I've got that I was on the lookout for was Puppeteer. So Puppeteer is a great, very creative 2D platformer with some fantastic puzzle elements that involve changing the character's head. As you defeat an enemy, you can take their head and get their abilities. It's a beautiful game. It's incredibly unique. It's incredibly playable and reasonably affordable. I mean, I got it in a deal for 100 kroner, so about 12 quid, something like that, with 4 other games. So not bad at all. That was maybe, you're not going to find it that cheap in the UK, for example. It's actually a game I've been looking out for in the UK quite a lot, and I've never really seen it in CX or any of those other second-hand places. So finally, I find Puppeteer for a very affordable price, and I'm really happy to have found that. And so I had to find 4 other games, of course, to make use of the deal. So the first one I saw, which I didn't expect to see, was Folklore. Now, Folklore is a game that I've played the demo of because I heard it was very good. I played the demo and kind of decided it wasn't my sort of game. Then I thought, this game is, people like this game a lot, and I'm willing to give it another go. I'm willing to try again to see what all the fuss is about. And also, I couldn't really resist picking this game up at such an inexpensive price, because if I wanted to experience Folklore, I might have to go on eBay and find a copy of it. There it goes for upwards of £20. So, wow. Another bargain, and probably the best bargain of this entire bunch of games would be Folklore, because it's worth twice as much, really, as the whole bundle of 5 games put together. So I'll give it another go. Let's see. Next up, because I like Naruto, I bought a Naruto game. At this point I was kind of like, I got those 2 and I thought, was there anything else I can actually get now? This is Ultimate Ninja Storm 3 Full Burst. I'm actually not sure if there was a regular Ultimate Ninja Storm 3. Maybe you can tell me down in the comments. But this Full Burst subtitle seems to imply it's got extra things that weren't in the last one. It's saying enhanced visuals. 38 download content costumes. These all sound like extra things. So I thought this was probably worth it, despite the fact I not long picked up Ultimate Ninja Storm Generations and still haven't got around to playing that. But yeah, not bad. I was quite happy to find that one. Now we're getting really desperate now. We're like, what are we going to get? What are we going to get? Well, I remember liking Chronicles of Riddick on the original Xbox. And actually it's on here as well, in a sort of remastered version. Great. I basically bought it for that, because that's a good game. It's nice to play it remastered. Let's see how good the remaster is. I've not read anything about this, so I don't know. But again, it was so cheap, it was certainly worth a go. And of course, you've got a whole brand new game in there as well, which, again, don't know anything about, don't know if it's any good, but so cheap, I thought it was worth trying out. And this is a cheap game. This isn't particularly expensive if you even just find it in the wild. Yeah, but there we are. There's that one. And a game which I have also played a demo of and decided I didn't really like it that much is Epic Mickey 2. But I like it enough to get it for this price, because I've seen this around and I've thought about getting it a lot. But I never have done, based on my experience with the demo, which I found this game to be incredibly rough around the edges and be beautifully presented, but gameplay-wise to be a bit iffy. Similar to the original Epic Mickey, which I got for the Wii back when that came out. And that was an okay game, I kind of liked it, but I expected a lot from this sequel, and it really doesn't quite deliver. There's a few awkward camera angles, control issues. It uses a PlayStation Move, which makes sense for the brush thing, but then again, that never really worked well the first time they tried it on the Wii, so yeah, it was cheap. It's got co-op. Maybe me and my girlfriend can play this together and not get too frustrated by it. But I really love the design side of these games. They're beautiful, and the amount of obscure Disney characters which they feature in these make it worth picking up, I think. So I'm sure I'll struggle through this at some point, but there it is. Epic Mickey 2, The Power of 2. And that nearly brings me to the end of the episode. It's quite a long one, this one, but I say there's quite a lot of things I've picked up and played recently. And if I played them recently, it's good to talk about them at the time. When my girlfriend visited Denmark last weekend, she brought back a couple of things I had delivered to the UK. One of them, I haven't got the box because no point bringing the box over, but Mario Tennis Ultra Smash. That's fine. I got it cheap. It really doesn't seem to be that much. There's a lot of gimmicky modes, it seems like, and then I just like playing multiplayer tennis games, so it does that pretty well. My girlfriend said she found it a little bit difficult to pick up after having played the 3DS version of the game, where it controls slightly differently. But other than that, it's a quality Nintendo title, albeit a bit lacking in options. But if you want a good game of Mario Tennis on a Wii U with really nice visuals and some like giant mode where you can have giant characters play. I've not tried that yet. I don't know if it is gimmicky or is a legitimately enjoyable side game, but there it is. I think I got it for about £16 second hand, good as new. But I wasn't really keen on paying any more for that. Now the next game, I think I got for about £15. I got it along with, I can't remember what it's called now. I bought another fighting game recently, which I've talked about on Parry's pickups, I think. Oh, Aquapazza. I brought it along with that one, but it arrived after, so my girlfriend was nice enough to bring it to Denmark. That is Fighting Climax. Now it has another part to its title, but I can't remember it, and it's in Japanese, and I can't read Japanese, so yeah. Maybe the cover's enough for you to tell what this game is. It features Sega characters. It features a Sonic level to fight in. Ooh, pretty nice. And it's very well presented. It's very enjoyable to play. There's a good variety of characters. Anything with nods to Sega is great. There's a girl dressed up as a Dreamcast who sort of guides you through the story, which, again, unfortunately can't read. But it's a very enjoyable fighting game, albeit really easy. At least when I played through it with the character I chose, I was able to whiz through it pretty quickly with little challenge. I think I maybe died a couple of times. Maybe I continued once or twice. I can't quite remember. But on a good day, I think this would definitely be a walk in the park. And I'm not sure why it's so easy. I thought I was doing something wrong. I felt, in a way, a little bit shortchanged. It wasn't more of a challenge. But there's perhaps other options which challenge more. I can probably increase the difficulty level a bit. But for what it is, it's very, very nicely done. And for fans of 2D fighting games, I think this is a bit of a must-have for the collection. So we're coming up to the 20-minute mark now. You're probably bored of me rambling on about video games. So we'll leave it at that for this Parry's Pickups. We'll have hopefully another one before I return back to the UK for Christmas time. So yeah, for now, happy gaming, and we'll see you again very shortly. Bye for now.